Okay, are we all set? Yeah, good. Well, wow, I honestly wasn't expecting the turnout that I see before me, so that's fantastic. I want to thank every one of you individually, personally, for coming out this evening on a snowy Wednesday evening, it turns out. And looking around the room, there's a lot of you who I don't know. So again, a special welcome to you for coming out here. My name's David Lim. I'm a doctoral researcher at the University of Reading. I went back into education in 2006, 2007, and I completed a master's degree in renewable energy engineering. So for those of you who do know me, I can tell you where I've been hiding for the past year or year and a half, because this has taken up a significant portion of my life, to be honest. It's kind of everything's been on hold. I've really wanted to get to the bottom of this issue as a researcher. As some of you may know, there's a lot of disinformation out there regarding this subject. In 2010, I did some work for the Royal Academy of Engineering, and I was fortunate enough to speak abroad at some conferences. And this has to be, I can honestly say this, one of the hardest things to put together, one of the hardest talks, not least because it's a controversial subject, and also it's not my area of expertise. I have looked at this to a point, though, where I'm sufficient and comfortable enough to speak to you about what I've found. So I hope you will glean something from this. Geoengineering affects everybody. I think I put in my article, if you breathe, it affects you. So from children to the elderly. So when I've been putting this together, I've been wondering how I'm going to pitch it. Do I want to start at the base intro level, or the veterans in the subject who have looked into geoengineering and weather modification? So I've hit right at the base. So I've started right at the beginning. So I'm assuming that there are people out in the audience who know absolutely nothing about geoengineering. Having said that, I've looked around the room and I can see some very articulate, intelligent people. So I'm going to work you quite hard, and I make no apology for that, because there's a lot of information to get through. It's a huge, huge subject, and breaking it down into manageable chunks, putting it into plain English, has been interesting, to say the least. So, increases in extreme weather, food prices and illness. The unspoken connection is the title. Okay, so the journey. I've called it a journey as opposed to content. I think content alludes to the fact that there might be an ending, but I don't particularly want there to be an ending to this when you leave the hall this evening. I really hope, if I do my job well, to inspire you perhaps to look into some of this yourself. Because I've learned from experience in this area, me telling you this means absolutely nothing unless you do something for yourself, unless you look, and I will direct you as to where to look, because it is a minefield. So I'm going to hit you straight with it up front, the unspoken connection. I'll give you some bullet points as to where we're going with this. Then I'm going to have a chat about the government and where they lie on the governance issues of geoengineering. Then I'm going to show you a few photographs of what it looks like. Then talk about the impacts. And then this huge question that everybody's asking, why are they doing it? Why is this happening to us? I'm going to help you navigate those murky waters with the research and point you in some directions and describe to you what's happening out there. And then I'm going to end up with some good news. Unconventionally, I'm going to start with a thought experiment with all of you, okay? So just roll with me on this. So, as and when you're comfortable, I want you to close your eyes I want you to imagine that you've woken up and there's a letter on on the box or on the floor, and you open the letter and it's a random invitation to a Queen's garden party. The date on the top of the letter is in black, and it says 1959. And you think, oh, this is kind of interesting, I'm going to accept. So you doll yourself up, you put on your best gear, and a chauffeur car greets you, takes you to London, to Buckingham Palace Gardens, and there you are, canapes flowing, champagne, guys walking around, and you're leaning up against the side of a corridor of a marquee. It's a beautiful marquee. And you overhear a conversation. You overhear two dapper-looking chaps in military uniform. And they're talking about potentially spraying the whole of Dorset with carcinogenic particulate material from aircraft. And you think, no, this can't be real. So you wheedle in a bit closer and you glean a bit more of the conversation, and they're talking about using aircraft, they're talking about the load quantities. Fast forward now, you're on the way home and you're thinking, no, this can't be real, but yet you've heard something. You've got this information that everybody's going to be sprayed. And you think to yourself, how the hell am I going to articulate this information to people? What am I going to say? And I want you to think about that for a second. What am I going to say? And what is the response from the people who I engage with? Will I be ridiculed? How are they going to accept this information? Are they going to think I'm mad? Okay, now, I want you to open your eyes now. I hope you kind of got that mental picture there, because that's exactly where I am now with this. And that's where a lot of people are with this. Okay, I'm going to hit you with it. Increases in extreme weather events, food prices, and illness. A few bullet point facts. I'm not going to labour these. UK. So we've had the hottest April on record, 2011. We've had the coldest December on record, 2010. Can you remember that? The driest spring in southern England on record, again, 2011. The wettest English year, 2012. That was last year. And I breeze across that, wettest year. That caused so many people so much heartache with flooding. The dullest June since 1909, 2012. The Environmental Agency put out 266 flood warnings or thereabouts last year. And a little quiz question for you. In the US, anybody hazard a guess at how many total temperature records were broken? 2012, we had the Texas droughts and what have you. 1,000?
I was going to say 10.
20,000? 40,000 individual temperature records were broken last year in the States. Food prices. Food price expenditure as a proportion of disposable income increased between 10 and 14% in the past 5 years. Hedge fund investments have risen from $50 to $400 billion over the past, 1999 to 2011. The Reuters Food Index has risen by more than 10% as well, and that's due to rising demand, commodity speculations, and various supply problems. And that's very key, supply problems. And what a lot of people haven't heard about is the food rioting in Haiti. And Lord Monckton, I think, presents some information on this, and they talk about the people in Haiti not being able to afford mud pies. Pies partly made from mud. Illness, and this is a biggie. 800,000 dementia sufferers in the UK at the moment, and that's expected to double, or just over double actually, to 1.7 million in the next 40 years. Alzheimer's, I think, speaks for itself. I think many people who I've spoken to have had people who with Alzheimer's or friends of friends. A global asthma epidemic is hitting us. Vitamin D deficiency. So 50% of ethnic whites are lacking vitamin D, and 90% in the Black and Asian groups. Childhood rickets has made a comeback.